morning, everybody. This is Dr. Jeff Culbert from Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center, and today we're going to do a little bit of an interview with a couple of patients who've recently started. We're also going to do a couple of adjusting videos, which I know for you guys who are subscribers and love what we do here at Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center, it's been a little while since we've done an adjusting video, so today we're going to get a kind of a 2 or 3 for one shot in. Okay, so this is Chris and this is Lindsey, and it's kind of a unique story in terms of how they got here. And for me, you know, I am Christian based. My patients and everybody in the community knows that I am a strong Christian. I have branded myself with Jesus on my arm. And for me, there are a lot of very great similarities between my chiropractic principles and tenets that I was taught in chiropractic school and Christianity and some of the Christian beliefs and Christian tenets. Very easy to make that connection because in chiropractic we are taught that there is a power that creates the body, makes the body, and will heal the body from above down, inside out. For me, that very much correlates to my Christian beliefs that there is a God, that He is responsible for creation, creating me, and that the power of the Holy Spirit comes down from heaven into my mind, and I can make the neurological connection that the brain is the creating source in my life and in my world. For me, God resides in my brain, and the power of the moment that I was conceived with the spark of life, that is the power for me as a Christian, the power of the Holy Spirit. But when it comes down to anatomy and physiology, that is going to be the energy that resides within the nervous system. So when we talk from above down, we can talk about God in heaven coming down to us here on earth. We get filled with the Holy Spirit. We have a power or a spirit or a nervous system energy that connects our body. So I can make the link from mind-body connection with the nervous system. I can make the connection in my Christian faith with the power of God coming through my mind, that creative force that can create a nothing, or take a nothing that's a thought and turn it into a beautiful something. And through my body being the temple, the sun, the nervous system makes the connection between the two. So from above down, inside out, for me is the sign of the cross. And so with all of that being said, it's a very unique story in terms of how Chris got here into our office. So Chris, why don't you tell us here in the room, as well as the people who are subscribed and will hopefully future subscribe, how you came into the office, because that is a very unique story that really touched my heart as a Christian.
Basically, a few months ago, we first started dating. Before we were married, we really were feeling we needed to get to a chiropractor. The Lord was actually speaking to us about it, like very subtle promptings. And you know, we didn't know where to go. We were kind of like waiting for the Lord's leading in this. And so it took some time. And a couple months ago, I was talking to my dad about it, and he actually mentioned you. He mentioned to come here to Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic. And so I put it off a little bit. I looked you up. I was like, okay, that's where it is. And I kind of left it there. And you know, as time went on and stuff like that, we got to a point where we're like, you know what, we needed healing in our bodies, because our bodies were getting to a point where they were breaking down. Like they were really getting hard to move, and we weren't very mobile anymore in areas where we were active, you know. So we literally prayed together, and that night the Lord gave me a dream, and He sent an angel to work this whole dream out, like basically that, you know, that my wife needed to be adjusted, and it was a chiropractic dream and stuff like that. And there was actually, he was saying that if we didn't do this, that things were actually going to progressively get worse, and it was going to need much more aggressive treatment. And then after the angel was actually adjusting my wife in the dream, he turned to me and he said the Lord spoke to me about you too, and he's like, it's going to take you about a month or two of 2 adjustments a week to get back on track. And you know, and so that's what we've been doing for about a month now, and you know, it really has significantly made a huge difference, a huge impact.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about who the angel was for you? Because that again is a very unique story in terms of you know, my life. You know, Chris is going to tell you a story about the angel, and I have a connection to this angel, which is pretty weird, because when I was a young man, now I'm 64, so I don't necessarily consider myself young anymore, but when I was 19, 20, and 21, I was working as a landscaper for a group called Garden State Florists over in Warren, which was literally 2 or 3 doors down from where Chris's Angel is going to originally originate from. So this is a pretty freaky story, which really touched my heart and blew my mind away very quickly. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So backing up a little bit, my mom had actually brought me to this office when I was about 8 years old, is what she remembered. And to get a job, I had stomach issues. So that was corrected also back then. So as time went on, for whatever reason, we went to a different we started with a different chiropractor. So we were all getting a family adjustment and stuff like that. And his name was Dr. Barrett Ripley, and he's since retired. But so the angel in the dream was actually cloaked or disguised as him. He actually showed up as him, as somebody I would recognize. This is one of the ways the Lord speaks in ways that we can relate. So the Lord, had the angel like appear as him, and he was giving the adjustments and stuff like that. And then, as the angel was like going away, he actually turned and his hair was just like him. It looked just like him. But as the angel turned and went away, his hair totally changed. And I did not see his face. I did not see his actual face. I still have yet to see his face. And he turned and went away, and I just saw the side, and he just turned and went away. But his hair was like the most perfect, beautiful braided hair you've ever seen. And I mean, God gets all the glory for this. You know what I mean? That's why we're sitting here. So with that, to back up a little bit, my dad had mentioned this office. And I was like, we gotta go. We gotta go to the chiropractor. The Lord's saying we gotta go to the chiropractor.
We both felt, no, we need to go there.
And it was like, okay, this is where we're going. So it's like, I feel like he was already planted, and that's what got us here. It took some time for everything to work out and track. So.
Well, you plant seeds, and seeds have to eventually germinate and cultivate, and then it grows and blossoms. But for me, as soon as he had mentioned the name Dr. Ripley, literally I worked 2 or 3 doors down from Dr. Ripley's office in Warren. And so as soon as he mentioned Dr. Ripley, and I knew Chuck in the day, it was just, this is too crazy freaky for a connection of a chiropractor that I knew about, because everybody at Garden State Florist would see Dr. Ripley. And it was one of those things, I'm going to plan on going to chiropractic school. These guys are always talking about Dr. Ripley and the Ripley Clinic. And obviously a very big name here in New Jersey in terms of chiropractic. So is an amazing, interesting connection on how, as Chris said, the Lord works in truly mysterious ways, and you just sometimes can't believe, and that's how it has got that spiritual touch to it, on how these things coincidentally just all fall in place. So Chris literally became the canary in the coal mine. So if I didn't kill Chris, then Lindsey was coming in. So Lindsey's in here one day, and she is sitting down, and I'm coming through in and out of the office adjusting patients like a whirling dervish, and she's sitting in one of these chairs along the side here, and she's got her legs crossed just as I'm sitting here habitually, unfortunately sometimes crossing my legs, and I go, you shouldn't cross a leg in a chiropractic office. And she, being a typical, I hate to say this term, but a typical, pardon my language, smart-ass blonde, she comes around and just gives it right back to me. And with that, all of a sudden, she's back in the office as a new patient a couple of days later. So, Lindsey, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown on your story? Because as I was adjusting you last night, one of the comments that I made to you, as well as I made to Chris later on in the day, is she's doing so phenomenally well, almost incredibly fast in such a short period of time. Your adjustment yesterday was so smooth and so easy, and just everything went so, there was no fight in it like there had been for the last couple of weeks. But yours is a very interesting story that dates back, 15, 16 years. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
With one arm, so already over the time, and I had my son, ever since I had him, I had back pain. So the arm on top of the back pain, then I got in a car accident 2 years later. So ever since then, it's been about 13, 14 years, God's been telling me to go to the chiropractor, and I'm like, no. So I've been on pain meds. I've been on, and the thing is that I've had pain like every day. Like there hasn't been hardly any one full day that I haven't had pain. So like I would know, like in my own self. And so when I know something works for me, I tell everybody. That's why I've been telling everybody about you. But so for me, it's like, when you know something's going to be good for you, but you don't know really like how it's actually going to affect your life. Pain, we all know it stinks. People deal with it. So many people deal with it all over their bodies. And it's like, that was just something always in my mind, like pain meds, like, did I take this today? I always had to think about that because it was like the forefront of my mind. So, we just got married this past summer, but the Lord, the way he did it, he kept making it so obvious to me, and we're so stubborn sometimes, but I would be like, look, and he'd be like, look up, and it'd be like chiropractor, and then we'd be like random places, and he'd be like, look over there, chiropractor, and I still didn't go, and I'd be like, God, heal me, what is going on? And he'd be like, just do what I told you to do, and I'm like, but it can't be that simple. So like, the same week I started coming here, all the shortages with all the stuff going on in the world, like medications. So my medication, I told them, lessen it to something I could get. So the same week I started getting adjusted, I was way down on medication. So my body could tell, but I feel like God wanted that because he has to take the very things that we've held so tightly onto for so long as like our comfort and like, oh, I can do that at least. And we don't give it to him to do. Like we try to take it on ourselves. Not that we mean to, but I'm like, I always try to control what's going on with me. So then finally I'm like, I give up. And Chris told me the dream. And as soon as he told me that dream, I felt if you don't do this, it's going to get way worse. And just like with him talking to me about my sugar, he kept telling me, don't eat sugar. And I'm like, okay, if I don't stop, like something worse could happen. And he's trying to stop it from happening. So he started coming here. First of all, the staff is amazing. Everybody is so loving. You could tell they love their jobs and they're here to help people. And that comes from the head guy because the way he sets the example, it all trickles down from there, So I started getting adjusted and when you're like, is that in my mind? Like when I started feeling better, I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like I wasn't used to feeling like normal. You forget what normal feels like. So the way he did it and he tells you everything he's doing on your body and all this stuff. So I started just I trusted God. I said, Lord, I have less medication. I said, I'm just going to do what you told me. I signed up, didn't think about all the other stuff because he was just like, Chris is like, we just got to get in, But when we came here, I just felt this is where you need to be. And I'm like, wow, I've never been to a chiropractor my whole life, basically. And I can believe, because I'm dealing with it, I can't say I can't believe. I can believe how much better I feel all around. And I know that this has to do with a huge part of it too. So I am so grateful for him, my husband, the one guy that I get married to. And then he meets him and it's like, and it's by our house, which was so weird. It wasn't an hour away. It wasn't like, so, and we both go to church nearby here. And it's like, God is definitely touching our marriage to see my husband doing better. When he started feeling better, he's like, man, I'm really feeling better. I'm like, honey, you didn't tell me how bad it was. He's like, yeah, it was bad. I'm like, okay, great. I'm so glad you feel better now. So just so grateful for him. But just to be able to talk to him, I could tell he's doing it not because of money, not because of fame, not because of all this stuff. He knows where his strength comes from. And it's wisdom that he knows he needs from the Lord. And you apply that to, I believe, I hear all of your patients and all the different things they deal with. And you just cover just everything.
You said it comes from the top guy, and you pointed towards me.
But he's the top.
There is a guy above me. And, I got into chiropractic for a lot of different reasons. And one of the big reasons was the influence of my cousin Joe, who was working with my uncle who had Lou Gehrig's disease. And with him rendering adjustments and giving some nutritional support, my uncle's Lou Gehrig's disease went into a remission for 2 years.
Wow.
And it baffled the doctors why that had occurred because his progression downward was rapidly going down, and all of a sudden it pauses for a couple of years.
Wow.
And so as I got a little bit more involved with Joe and seeing a little bit more of what he was doing, and then I met my future wife, and she was having issues, and within a couple of adjustments, Joe had made such a huge difference for her. it was one of those things I said, I've got to explore this a little bit more. So we do have, Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center, our primary goal is to get you well, keep you well with a lifetime of care and service, and always guide you in the right direction. So for me, chiropractic, and the blessing that I've had in discovering chiropractic is I do get to heal people. And I do get to heal people with the great knowledge that God has imparted to me. He's given me a gift. I know that gift resides within my hands. And like you said, he has given from the power from above down, inside out, is how the healing comes from me. There was a gentleman who taught me years ago the curious passing of hands. I start and I look at a person and I start with their feet, we start muscle testing, and then I just let the power of the Lord guide me each and every time that I'm dealing with a patient. Somebody will say, that adjustment you gave me last time was amazing. Can you do that again? I have no idea what I did the last time. Okay, it's one of those things that each visit into the office is unique. Well, there is a healing trend or patterns that occur. The uniqueness of everything that goes on in the office is fairly unique. We have open door concepts so that, again, energy flows. Okay, I want people to know what we're doing at all times. And it is always somewhat private, but you hear what's going on in a conversation. So you'll know what I'm saying, and it's not uncommon for me to ask somebody, so Chris, what do you think the good Lord's trying to tell you with this? Because I do believe that for me, my practice is my ministry. And so in a sense, not only am I a chiropractor, but I have a ministry to encourage people to get well, stay well naturally. Here in the office, we go through different phases of healing. Right now you came in with 15, 16 years of pain and agony. Essentially for me, you are a house on fire. And my first job is to be a fireman and start to put that fire out. Same thing with Chris and his back and his shoulder. Get that fire put out as quickly as we can. And then from there, we can start the work of rebuilding and making things stronger. And then it's just a matter of supporting and feeding the body with what it needs. Right now, the primary thrust of what we're doing is the adjustment, but we're starting to talk about some exercises and stretches. We'll talk about nutrition. We'll talk about sleep, your posture, your attitude, changing your thinking. One of the things we do with a lot of our patients is just start teaching them little affirmations in terms of what are some of the things you need to start thinking and believing. Because I learned a long time ago, and if nothing else, Jesus really teaches this. Nothing has any meaning than the meaning you choose to give it. So when he was being crucified on the cross, he could have taken that and he could have been bitter and he could have been mad and angry, but he didn't. He asked Father God to forgive them because they really didn't know what they were doing. And again, I try to take and model that with every single person that comes in. Lord, give me one more. If you ever saw the movie Hacksaw Ridge, it's about a guy who was
in the army, right?
Yeah, he was in the army, World War II, conscientious objector, wanted to go into the military, the medical corps, so he could give life versus take life. And during the battle that was going on this big hillside, all he kept saying to the Lord was, just one more, just one more, just one more. He ends up saving like 79 people, including 2 Japanese, okay, who was the enemy. Love thy neighbor, love thy enemy, okay? So again, while all of this is going on, every day, just one more, God, one more new patient, one more person that we can turn on to chiropractic. Because for me, chiropractic releases the energy that is trapped within us that allows the body to heal from the inside out. So when Chris came in and told me his story, and then Lindsey came in and was telling me her story, and they've gotten such phenomenally great results in such a short period of time. The connection with the angel and Dr. Ripley, and the Lord has been sending them messages.
I'm really, I just want to say, I'm really shocked at how much better I feel, because it's like when pain becomes normal to you, it's like you just put up with it. And like you were saying, thinking and all this stuff, it's like when you wake up thinking, I'm going to be in pain today, and you just expect it, it has no problem showing up. But when you wake up, and I mean, as a Christian, it's like, Lord, I give you this right now, and you have to help me, and you have to fix me. And when he led us here to you, we were talking in the car earlier, God chooses different ways that he's going to heal somebody. It's not always just supernatural. I've had supernatural healings. I've seen arms grow out, legs grow out. Like, I've seen that stuff, cataract fall out of people's eyes. Like, but yet with me, after the thousands of people I prayed for, with me, it's like he chose to do it this way. And he didn't do it, he didn't allow it to happen until we actually came here. So he's not like, well, you know what, you have really good intentions about going. Sure, I'll just fix your back right now. No, it had to be, number one, I never went to another chiropractor. So because of Chris, he's the first one. So I didn't have to undo anything. I didn't have to like, switch when we got married. It's like, oh, I already have one. I am so grateful to God and to Chris and to Dr. Jeff that he is willing to take up the torch and be like, you know what? I'm very different than some other people in this field. But you know what? I know what works for me, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And it's just like, just ask the patients, which we are now. And it's just amazing.
When you're talking about pain, you're under the medication, okay? And, Pastor John at Mendham Hills, the church that I go to, a couple of months ago had mentioned something in a sermon that the enemy will give you just enough comfort to keep you locked in your cage.
Yep.
And as you're telling your story, I feel blessed, I feel honored. And all I did was essentially take the key and open up the door to your cage. And it was up to you to either step through to see what's going on the other side and have that freedom to make certain other choices, or it was your choice to stay, I'm comfortable enough within my cage. And I think the bottom line is, after 16 years of being trapped in a cage, you decided finally, let's take the walk through the door.
And I'm never going back.
It's amazing to see the results that you've gotten in a short period of time. I would love for everybody that's out there viewing this to believe that they can get the same results in the same period of time. But as I do tell everybody is unique and different. Everybody has a process. And one of the tenets in chiropractic is the sixth principle. And the sixth principle basically says there is no process which does not require time. And the thing is that you have to be willing to give it the time, as well as to be able to take all the appropriate steps. Because I think you guys will agree that, if you say, I'm a Christian, okay, it's just not a religion, and it's just not a thing to do on a Sunday and go to services on a Sunday. And then, for me, the light bulb went on a couple of years ago that, Christianity is not necessarily something that I do in terms of a Sunday thing. It is a relationship, and it is a lifestyle. And if you notice right above you, we have on the wall, chiropractic is a lifestyle. While it is a great thing for a treatment, it is the beauty of living that lifestyle, like living a Christian lifestyle. And when you combine the tenets of both, you just blossom and bloom. So I have to thank you guys, because I truly believe that everybody comes into our lives, whether you want to talk about the theory of precognition or destiny. Everybody comes in for a reason. You guys came into my life for a particular reason, and that could just be to confirm that there are really great Christian people out there that I still have to have my hands on, as Jesus came down into this world, and he did not resonate with everybody. But for those people that resonated with him, he gave to them, yet they gave to him as well, and kept him going, and he kept them going. And I truly believe you guys came into our practice for not only for me to be able to help you, but for you guys to help me and to help my staff. And I see it happening all the time, because one, I get to work on you guys are doing amazingly well, but I also see the way you guys interact, not only with my staff, but I see how you strike up conversations with other people in the office, and you're giving to them as much as they're giving to you, as much as we're giving to you guys, and you giving back to us. So it really does create a team. And for me, team has always been an acronym for together, each achieves more. You can't do it alone. It takes a team. We have become part of your healthcare team. You have become part of our healthcare family. And I can't thank you enough today for coming down and doing this interview with us. I'm hoping it certainly moves people to, if not explore chiropractic in our office, because my purpose for my staff is I care more about chiropractic's reputation, and I want to make sure chiropractic shines all the time. If I make chiropractic shine and look good, okay, in a world that's very skeptical of chiropractic, I have done my job. And if I've done my job to grow chiropractic, then I grow in my reputation. It's not about me, me. You know, obviously as a Christian, it's never about me. It's always about you guys. Okay, so if we're making something different here that somebody out there in our audience sees, I would ask you to, again, hit that like button, hit share, and move it on to friends and family who, again, just like these guys, can then at least seek out chiropractic and a chiropractor in their area. Because, you know, quite honestly, we see, you know, people are in England and in Russia, people all over the world see this. So not everybody can get to my office, but somebody can get to a office of chiropractic and find the chiropractic office that resonates with them. So again, just like Lindsey and just like Chris, you get off of your medications, you start living a different lifestyle, you start to see how great you can be healing without the uses of drugs and surgery. And trust me, when they're needed, thank God we have them. But they don't necessarily need to be used as often as they are. So if you have any interest, visit our website, smcc4u.com, explore a little bit about our office. You ever have any questions, shoot us an email, shoot us a phone call. I have been known to find chiropractors for people all across the United States and in a variety of different countries. You never know what that key is that is going to unlock the power within you so that the body can heal from above down, inside and out, and it will change you. And as you change, you get to change the members of your family. As the members of the family change for the positive, you change the community. You change the state, you change the country, you change the hemisphere, you change the world. But it won't start by you trying to change somebody else. It first has to start with you trying to change you, and that becomes the positive influence for others. So I want to thank Chris and Lindsey for coming in today.
There's hope. There's hope when everything else has failed you. I just want to say, I'm not getting paid for this advertisement. No, but like, I just want to say, I've been doing the pain management for so many years, and it's like, if that's still, even being on the meds, you still feel like crap, try this. Just try it, right? It's like, if it doesn't work for you, but don't let fear hold you back from doing something that may be the very thing that God and that your body needs you to do.
So with all of that being said and done, thank you guys so much. I'm going to say, everybody, my normal closing, okay? Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center, we are your leader in alternative healthcare, where literally your health is in our hands. Thank you very much for listening to us today. I hope this has moved you to explore a little bit more about chiropractic. And I will see you guys next week in another video coming to you really soon. But right now we're going to get Lindsey and Chris adjusted, and we're going to get them videoed with that. So again, you can see how we're adjusting these guys. And again, hopefully that moves somebody to move into the world of chiropractic. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in another video really soon.